Good evening, everyone. This is Nikhil. Today, on the occasion of Teachers' Day, I would like to brief you all an interesting theory. It will be an attempt to prove the existence of God in scientific way. This includes a set of some famous theories. Before we begin, I would like to let you know that how weird this might go. Since this is an indirect proof, it has to be proved using contradictions. Some may even call it undiscovered science or a paradox. Yet, I request you to enjoy and think upon after the end. This is just an illustration of possibility, unless it is proved 100% right. So now, without any delay, let's begin. We begin with the famous theory of a well-known scientist. Yes, you've guessed it correct from the picture. It's Einstein's theory of relativity. Relativity literally means the reference of something or related to something, and in physics, it is the position of an object which is referred to some other body. Have a look at the picture. It explains two cars, one on the right side and other on the left. A question may arise whether we call the blue ahead or the red behind. Of course, it means the same, but their relations are different. Some scientists began to believe a common perspective, that is, frame of reference, which was proved false in the later years. Relativity fundamentally is divided into two fragments. The first is general relativity and the second is special relativity. The earlier comprises of gravity and curvature of space-time, while the later describes time dilation and length contraction. Let's have a deeper look at general relativity. In physics, time is the measure of change in motion, and motion requires space. Hence we come across a unified concept called space-time. We all know that light is an electromagnetic radiation. According to the scientist Maxwell, the speed of light is a constant for every observer. This makes light special than other things, and hence, if I were to express in my own words simply, time depends on light. As you can see in the picture alongside the curvature of space-time, this is a result of the bending of motion due to gravity. We'll get back to this concept after the next concept. Well, let's go in special relativity. Imagine that we have a simple light clock. A beam of light is bouncing between two mirrors and one bounce back is recorded by the sensor attached below. The distance from mirror 1 to mirror 2 is h and time t is taken for one bounce back. If the speed of light is c, distance h will be c into t. We derive it using the simple formula we have learned, distance is equal to speed into time. If this clock is placed in a rocket moving around 90% of the speed of light, nothing majorly shall change for the people inside the rocket, except the huge jerk of inertia during acceleration. The clock is working the same way as it did before. But here comes the intense part. For an external observer, that is, one who is in the rest, outside the rocket, the beam will be traveling a diagonal path instead of vertical. This is because of the complex motion of the beam moving and positively and negatively vertical and the rocket moving positively horizontal. Diagonal is obviously lengthier than the normal path. Thus, light will have to travel longer distances. Light has to increase its speed to maintain the consistency. Since the speed of light is constant for everyone, distance has to reduce, which is described as length contraction. But that isn't sufficient, and hence the other factor, time, is affected. To compensate majorly, time increases. This is time dilation. If compared, it's noticed that time shall pass in the normal way for people in the rocket. But an external observer will have more time passed with respect to the rocket. He'll see slowing down of time in the case of rocket. General relativity holds the same thing, but it is gravity instead of speed. Photons are weightless, yet they are influenced by gravity. Light bends while passing through the space-time curvature, and hence time goes slow for people living on a body with huge mass with respect to an external observer. The interaction of gravity with space-time somewhat maintains a balance in the universe. Hence, the absence of space-time will mean pure or absolute gravity. Example, black holes. Not even light can escape them. Thus, the time is meaningless in black holes. If the universe is full of space-time, matter and the rest of factors, whatever is outside universe will be an absence of space-time, that is pure gravity outside the universe. We know that the universe is 13.8 billion years old. Before this, a concept called singularity is believed to have existed. Singularity is pure gravity and an absence of space-time. There is no physics in singularity as it is just gravity and an absence of distance and time. It is something smaller even than a quark. The universe has expanded after the Big Bang from this singularity. There is nothing beyond universe, not even space-time. The absolute void around itself being pure gravity shall pull it with an infinite force. That is, imagine, if you are falling from a building, you are not going to fall 15 seconds later, you will fall immediately. Thus, the universe should be ever expanding and should be infinitely old, without any age. But it has an age, 13.8 billion years. This is quite contradictory, and also, something cannot happen from nothing. Singularity cannot expand slower than infinity, but it does. Something other must have caused this change and created singularity, and this something we refer to as God. Now, it's my personal opinion that there's no point in saying this as undiscovered physics, since there was no physics during singularity, and also something can come from nothing as it is illogical. This is the end of the proof. The mentioned theory was a simplification of the theory originally put forth by Genius Kid from the Ohio State University. You could access the video on YouTube with the help of the link given below. Since we have a time restriction and the technology for time dilation is not invented, I would request you all to mention your doubts on the mail given. Thank you.